Have you ever found it difficult to get your man to be a man? Isn't it so exhausting to spend so much of your energy begging him to be a masculine man in your relationship? Well, what if I told you it's possible to get your man to step completely into his masculine energy in a way that you never even thought was possible before? Which is exactly why on today's show, we're gonna be discussing how to inspire masculine energy in your man. That way you can finally be in a relationship where you get to exist in your feminine energy because your man is finally taking care of business. Point number one is control. Now, the control I'm referring to is the fact that you have to let go of your desire to control everything he does. See, here's what's gonna happen. You have in your mind how you want a relationship to go. You also, because of the things you've experienced in your life, have an idea of if your relationship is gonna go this particular way, then that means your man has to do these particular things with you in the relationship and be this particular type of guy in the relationship in order for it to go exactly as it went in your mind. But this is a problem. Because what's going to happen after that is you're going to start trying to move, shake, and maneuver things so that the way that he is exactly how you imagined it would go in your mind. Because you don't want to be disappointed or frustrated if anything is different from the image that you've been having in your mind for all of these years. But this is the thing. In the process of doing that, much like this visual, you'll end up putting your man in a box. And this box will be very constricting because it will consist of your ideas of how he should be, how he should act, how he should talk, and how he should approach everything in life. I'm not just talking about his relationship with you. I'm talking about everything he does, even the things he does outside of you. And this will become like a virus. It's like a sickness that will take over your mind and ruin all of your relationships because only one of two things can happen from this point forward. Once you put him in this box and you say you want him to have these particular qualities, either he's going to try and break out of this box, right? Because he really wants to escape, or what's going to happen is he's going to stay in this box. We'll call this option number 2, right? He stays in this box. This is option number 1. And if he stays in this box, then what's going to happen after that is you no longer have a partner. You have like a doll. You have basically a ventriloquist doll that you're going to control any way you want to. And the only time this ventriloquist doll of yours is going to make any movements is when you say so. But this is a problem also, because if your man is only going to do things when you tell him exactly what to do and exactly how to do it, then you no longer have a masculine man. Because having being in your masculine energy is not just about, protecting and providing, because I'm sure you've heard that before. It's also about understanding how to critically think and make decisions based on your critical thinking skills. And on top of everything, understanding how to take action and not have to be prompted or guided in order to necessarily take action, right? Being able to have autonomy. That's part of your man being in his masculine energy. But the problem is, if you end up putting him in this box of control, we'll call it, right? Where you're always trying to control every single little thing he does, down to the way he eats his dinner, down to the way he holds his fork, down to the way how much he looks at his phone. All of this stuff is going to make a situation where either he's going to escape, and the escape is bad because he's going to resent you, he's going to push against you because you're trying to control everything he does, and then he's going to end up wanting to do the opposite, or he's going to do number 2, which he's going to become docile. He's going to start reverting into his feminine energy because now he's just sitting back, relaxing, and waiting for you to provide him with direction, and he's going to do whatever you want him to do. And you're going to end up in your masculine energy because you're now directing your man on exactly how to be, exactly how to act, and exactly how to approach life. But then you feel drained because you constantly feel like in order for your relationship to exist, that he has to be in his feminine energy, and subsequently you have to be in your masculine. Make it like a meditation, in and out. And when you breathe out, you're going to let go of your desire to control him and control everything he does and everything he says. Understand that you will only be able to exist in your feminine when you allow your man to show up for you by choice, not by force. the more you try to twist his arm and force him to show up or be the type of person or have the type of approach that you exactly want him to have by telling him to do this and do that and do this and do that and do this way, you're only going to end up deeper in your masculine energy. And as you end up deeper in your masculine energy, you're going to be more frustrated. As you're more frustrated, you're going to try to direct him to do more things because you're more upset. And it's just going to snowball out of control until you're full blown in a relationship in which you are embodying everything that the man should be embodying in his masculine energy, and your man is embodying everything that a woman should be embodying in her feminine energy. Okay. Point number 2 is about confidence. And what I want you to understand is you can do something very amazing here. See, you have a lot of the keys to getting your man to do things in a way that you want him to do, as long as you know how to do it the right way. Confidence, when a man has confidence in himself, he's a lot more likely to take action and make decisions because he believes in himself. So then you're asking the question, okay, how can I get my man to believe in himself? By believing in him. See, this is the amazing part about you as a woman. You're so awesome, right? I'm going to draw here. I'm not very good at drawing, but let's imagine this is the Superman sign, right? The way you make a man feel like a Superman is by showing him that you yourself have confidence in him. Because when you show that you have confidence in him, now he believes that he's capable of doing the things necessary to be the man that you need in a relationship. And subsequently, he starts to snowball in the direction of wanting to fulfill what he believes you believe of him. Sounds very strange. Now, the place that you want to instill the most confidence in him, and you want to be on a daily, every single day basis, be speaking to the confidence that you have in him, is in his ability to make good decisions. I'm going to say this again because this is so important to everything that you're going to be doing in terms of putting him in his masculine. See, remember I told you earlier, being in his masculine is not just protecting and providing, it's also being able to take action. You want to get your man good at taking action without you having to speak up or say things all the time or nag about things. This is very important. If we want to see results in a particular area and we want to get improvement in a particular area, the way I want you to focus on it is by instilling confidence in his ability in that area. So in this sense, we want you specifically focusing on instilling confidence in him, making him feel like Superman in the specific area of how good he is at making decisions for both himself and for you in this relationship, right? For the both of you, for the betterment of all of you. Why? Because remember how we have in Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility? It's the same idea. When you are telling him how much confidence you have in him, in his decision making, you're actually giving him a whole lot of power, because you're saying, I trust you. I know that you're going to be able to use your critical thinking skills to be able to analyze all the options and opportunities and understand what I need as well as a woman, and understand what I need in this relationship to make the best decision for both of us. You're literally saying that when you're saying, I have confidence in you to make the best decision. Now, when you give him all of that power, he now has a lot of responsibilities on his shoulders, because he starts to say to himself, well, damn, okay, she really believes in my ability to make the right decision here. Okay, guys, we gotta, all right, we might have to sit down and analyze some stuff, because your woman, she believes in you. We can't let her down. We have to make sure that we're actually living up to the expectation that has been set. And this is a really good way to encourage your man to show up for you, because we want him taking action. We want him thinking about your happiness and thinking about how to satisfy that happiness through his critical thinking skills. So when we're instilling your confidence in him and your belief in him, now he can also have some belief in himself. And I know it sounds very silly. You're like, how are men relying on me as a woman to give him confidence? Well, that's because there's a very symbiotic relationship between men and women. There's a lot of things you do for him in terms of inspiration and motivation that you wouldn't really ever be able to understand because you're just not a woman. That's okay. But if we understand how to strategically use it to your advantage, then we can get you what you want, okay? So we want to make sure that you're giving him this confidence in the area of how he makes decisions, so that he now says, all right, she believes in me. I know she believes in me. It helps me believe in myself. Now I have to live up to that expectation in making good decisions and understanding how to take action. With point number 3, we're gonna talk about suggestion. Now, I wanna kind of give you a little bit of an example so that we can see how this works in action. So let's have 2 options here. Let's imagine you're going out somewhere. And let's just say, for the sake of argument, I'm dressing you, okay? Don't worry about it. Don't make it nasty. Don't make it dirty. I'm dressing you today. Now, because I'm dressing you today, you have 2 options of shirts, all right? Over here, we have a red shirt, okay? And I want all of you paying attention because I'm gonna ask you a very important question at the end of this example. So I need you understanding these stipulations here, all right? And in our second option, because I'm dressing you today, we have a blue shirt, okay? Now, very important, this blue shirt is not a regular shirt. This blue shirt is wrinkled, it's old, it smells, and it's dirty, okay? And vice versa in these options here. The red shirt, smooth, right? No wrinkles, and it is nice and bright. And we'll also say smells good. Now, let me ask you a question because I need your participation in order for this to work. Let's say I came up to you and I asked you, hey, beautiful woman of you, we're going out today and I'm dressing you today. Today's a kind of interesting day. I want you to tell me, which shirt would you rather wear? Would you rather wear this clean, pristine red shirt? You know, red is the best color on you. You know, when you wear red, everyone stares. Everyone looks at you. It pops on your skin, everything like that. And I just think, you know, it would probably be the best one. Or do you want to wear this blue shirt? It's kind of old though. I think when I picked it up, there was a couple of dust bunnies and mice crawling all over it. But, you know, the holes are not really too big of holes. They're just kind of, you know, it could be seen as like fashion. You know how the kids nowadays, they kind of like to look homeless, like that's the vibe. But I don't know. I just think, you know, well, you could choose the blue one, but the blue one, it doesn't really work on your skin. But it's whatever. I mean, whatever you want to wear. Which color do you want to wear? Do you want to wear the red shirt? This is where I want you to answer. Do you want to wear the red shirt or do you want to wear the blue shirt? I know some of you are thinking, well, what does this have to do with my relationships or my masculine man? See, this is the really interesting part about suggestion. See, you in your feminine are actually really good at helping to make the decision that you wanted to make in the first place. As long as you understand how to present that information in a way that has your man able to choose what he wants to do. But if you're smart and very intelligent, you understand how the power of suggestion will make it so that there is no real choice. Let me explain this to you. See, when I gave you these 2 options, I purposely presented you with 2 options, knowing how you would naturally go through your process of thinking through your answer or thinking through your solution. When you're analyzing both of these different options, and I'm presenting to you options, and number 1, that this is a clean, smooth, clean, crisp smelling shirt, and number 2, that this is wrinkled and old, smells dirty, doesn't look good on your skin, all of that is affecting your psyche. All of that is affecting your decision making. And logically, most of you will go down the same path of decision making, saying, I don't want to look wrinkled. I don't want to smell nasty and smell disgusting, which is exactly what a lot of you said. So when I gave you a choice, you ended up choosing what I wanted you to wear anyways, but it still felt like a choice. So how does this align with you and your man in your relationship? See, you can do the same thing and allow your man to still feel like a masculine man by making a choice, but you can still understand the power of suggestion and how to present information in a way that makes it very clear one choice is a lot better than another one. But the thing about it is, and the way that this works to inspire masculine energy, is because when you allow your man to make the final decision, he gets to feel like a man. And you're helping him do something very important, which we're going to talk about in a little bit as well, in understanding how to go about critical thinking and allowing himself to think through the options, think through what the best decision is, think through why something else might not be a good decision. And then in that process, you're building what we're going to refer to later as muscle memory, that he gets in the flow of understanding how to make a decision, how to think through it, how to process information, and then understands how to make a final decision based on processing all of that information. Now, when you start building this process over and over again, right? And you build this up, you get a man who is capable of making decisions all the time. And a lot of times when you can do this in a nice feminine way, you don't interfere with the process of making him feel like a man by making him feel like you made the decision for him. You present him with the information, now, albeit you present him with the information in a very specific way, but then you allow him to make his own choice. And I promise you, men always feel more like men when they feel like they get to make their own choice of how they want to go about the situation, especially as it relates to you and his relationship with you. I know this might look a little bit confusing to some of you, but I'm going to explain what I mean here. Understanding that when your man is existing in his masculine energy, in order for you to inspire this and grow with this over the course of time, you're not going to like this, but you're going to have to let him make some mistakes, okay? Because part of being a masculine man is understanding how to take action. Unfortunately, with any human being, they're not going to be absolutely perfect and know everything the very first time. So in the process of him taking action on some things, he's going to make mistakes. And even sometimes he'll make mistakes in a way where you might be more knowledgeable than him. You might be more understanding than him. You might know exactly how this is going to end up and exactly the type of mistake he's going to make. But what I want you to let go of, remember, like we talked about in the beginning, I want you to understand that the best teacher for him is for him to make his own mistake and realize for himself how things will end up when he makes his own mistake. Okay? So I gave you an example here so that we can actually kind of walk ourselves through this and how you would apply this. For example, let's say you really want your man to take the trash out at a specific time every night because whenever he doesn't, he always forgets it, or whatever the case may be, because he's busy and he just forgets to do it. And every time you end up having to tell him, hey, go take the trash out. Go take the trash out. Go take the trash out every single week, right? And you're tired of having to baby your man to take the trash out simply because it's not something that you need to be reminding him of all the time. He needs to get good at being able to self-regulate. Now, this is what I want you to do. I want you to allow your man to make his own decision. So you can remind him, hey, today is trash day, and leave it at that. Let him analyze information. Should I take the trash out right now when she's reminded me that it's trash day? Or should I do it later and take a shower first? Should I eat first? Should I go on my phone first? Should I finish up this game? Knowing that there's a possibility when I say I'll do it later in option number 2, that I might forget and I might not take the trash out. I know this is going to be a little bit painful for you, but I want you to let him choose for himself so that if he makes this choice, I'll do it later. It's not a big deal. And when he makes the choice, he actually forgets to take the trash out. And then that trash is sitting there and it's smelling up a storm because now he forgets to take it out and it's not out for the next morning. And then all of a sudden the trash man doesn't take your trash and it's sitting there and you can't get rid of it now. Now he has a new problem on his hands because that trash is not going to get taken out for another week. And it's going to sit there in the house stinking up a storm. Now, I know that's going to disturb your peace. And I know that's going to bother you because you knew in your mind that if he would just take the trash out, you wouldn't have this problem and the both of you wouldn't be sitting in this smelly apartment or the smelly house. But the thing about it is, the best teacher for men is learning from their own mistakes and realizing when he's sitting and he's playing that video game, and the apartment is smelling or the house is smelling and it just smells like garbage in there to the point where instead of him just being able to walk out to the trash can 10 feet, put the trash out and go back to his video game, now he has to take the whole trash bag down, out, put it into his small car, take it all the way to the local dump and then throw it away there just to get rid of the trash. Now he knows through experience of having to do all that to get rid of the trash now, that he probably should, next time you remind him that it's trash day, just go ahead and take the trash out then. And I want you to continue allowing him to make his own mistake until he starts to self-regulate and realize, oh, I don't want a smelly apartment. Because I don't want a smelly apartment, I can't forget to take the trash out. If I'm gonna make sure I don't forget to take the trash out, I'm either gonna have to start setting myself a reminder, Or whenever my girlfriend or my wife reminds me about it's trash day, I make sure to take out the trash right then and there instead of putting it off till later. See, when you allow men to make mistakes, you force them to course correct on their own. Sometimes when you get into the habit of trying to control everything, you want to spell out for them how they need to course correct. But remember, like we talked about putting your man in a box, you create a scenario where your man loses his ability to have his own critical thinking skills. Subsequently, when he loses that ability to have critical thinking skills, he loses his ability to exist in his masculine energy. And then you have to take that on and you become the man in the relationship. Point number 5 is about criticism. Now, I know a lot of you won't like this, and you're not going to like this because it's very hard to do, especially when you're in the habit of doing this. See, I want to ask you a question, and then we're going to focus on how this applies to the men. So let's start by asking you something. Let's say you had 2 options for 2 different types of roads, okay? Number 1, right, your A option is a clear road. Now, in choice number 2, let's say on this road, there's a whole bunch of things that could put you in pain. There's spiders, there's snakes, poison. Both of these roads lead you to your destination. Which road are you gonna choose? Are you a risk taker like the crocodile hunter and you wanna go down this road with snakes, poisonous ivy and toxic air just to see what the vibes are like because you like exploring? Or are you gonna choose the path which is clear, has no issues, has no toxic air, and will get you there safe and sound without any issues, okay? Obviously, most of you are gonna choose choice number 1, unless you're some sort of risk taker. Choice number 1 in the clear road. But why are you choosing the clear road? Because choice number 2 is filled with a lot of pain, okay? Physical pain and emotional pain. There's a lot of hurdles you're gonna have to overcome to go down this road and be successfully able to come out on the other side whole. But here's the thing. It's the same thing for men with criticism. See, when you get to a point with a man where every time he does make a decision, remember, being in his masculine energy is about understanding how to take action for you without being prompted to. And now, when he finally does make a decision, if you're continuously critiquing his decisions and picking apart every single little thing that he does, what you're actually doing is you're creating a situation where the road of making a decision for you and making a decision for this relationship and taking action is actually filled with pain because you spend all of the rest of the time after he makes the decision critiquing why he made this decision and how it was a bad decision. So let me give you an example of how this works in a relationship. Let's say you want your man to start planning more dates with you and you want him to start taking you out more. You want him to be more romantic with you in this relationship. And when he finally does book a reservation without being prompted, when he finally does schedule this so that you guys are both free and just surprises you with something like, hey, let's go out to this sushi spot, you're like, oh, why would you go and book a reservation at this sushi spot? Like, this place is not even all that. And I'm not even in the mood to get sushi. Why wouldn't you ask me first what I was in the mood for before booking the spot at the sushi place? Now we don't even have enough time to book a reservation at the place I would actually have wanted to go to, that Mexican spot across from town. Like, I don't even feel like eating sushi today. I feel like just next time, just ask me before you just go ahead and book something. Like, I'm not necessarily going to be feeling that. You want to know what happens then? He says, oh, sorry. I tried to be a masculine man. I tried to make a decision. I tried to take some action, but now I feel very small. Now I take in a road and it's filled me with a lot of pain. So next time I'll just not make any decision. I'll just stay docile. I'll just not say anything unless spoken to, and I won't do anything. I'll just be here unless you say that's what you want me to do something different. This is a problem. You get into the cycle, and then your man is filled with pain whenever he does try and take action. And every time that happens, he's reminded to himself where he's learning, I'm filled with pain because any decision I make is usually the wrong decision in her eyes. And she critiques everything I do. So I'm just gonna stop making decisions. I'm gonna let her tell me what she wants, when she wants it, and how she wants it. Because if I don't wait until that time, she's going to critique whatever choice I choose to make without her input. Now you're in a situation where your man doesn't want to make any choices because he's fearful that any choice he'll make will be critiqued. Now you have a feminine man because once again, he doesn't want to take any action. He's too much in fear of the pain associated with taking action and the criticism he'll face for taking action that he just says, it's best for me to do nothing. So my advice to you is to be aware of this process. And when you see your man, when you're speaking confidence in his ability to make decisions, I understand he might not make the perfect decision. And I understand it might not look exactly how you want it to look. But I want you to refrain yourself from trying to critique every single little choice he made, showing appreciation when you're seeing him do some things in terms of taking action. That way you can be encouraging this behavior and make him feel like, oh, this is a clear pathway. This is a clear roadway. When I make decisions and I take action, I feel like the man. My woman appreciates me. My woman cares for me. She praises me when I make decisions. I need to make more decisions. I need to believe in myself more because my woman believes in me, right? I know it's very difficult because sometimes when he's actually not doing it perfectly how you want to just tell him all the different ways he's not doing it perfectly how you want. But you don't want to turn into one of those people who only has something to say when they have something to complain about. Not saying this to attack you, but I'm helping you understand it's a very easy way to suppress your man, put him in his feminine, and then subsequently you now have to be in your masculine just to exist in this relationship. Point number 6 is about muscle memory. Just like with sports, you want your man to build his muscle memory up. And the muscle memory I'm referring to is his muscle memory and his ability to make decisions and take action. So in order for him to build this muscle memory up, unfortunately, you're gonna have to be patient with him. Why? Because this process takes place over the course of time. It's not a wake up immediate, everything is 180 degrees different. See, the reason I drew out a visual of a basketball, when a person is learning how to shoot a basketball and learning how to be a good basketball player, you understand the way your body has to move, the way you have to stroke it, no dirty stuff. The way you have to stroke it, right? And the way you have to actually maneuver your body and the way you have to follow through, what it feels like when the ball goes in, what it feels like when you miss. And over the course of time, you develop this understanding, right? It's kind of like an emotional and physical understanding of what it feels like to have things working properly, similar to when you're shooting a basketball. As you get better at understanding what your shot feels like when it's going in, you know the exact mechanics of what you need to do in order to get that ball in the basket, to the point where as your muscle memory grows, you can start to feel that a shot is good simply when it comes off of your fingers, because you know the exact motion that you must go through in order to get that ball in the hoop. And it's the same thing with men. As they're allowed to have some muscle memory, make their mistakes, go through this process, right? They're building their ability to understand, okay, when I'm critically thinking, when I'm making decisions, this is the process I have to go through. This is how I consider my needs. This is how I consider my woman's needs. This is how I consider what's best for our relationship, and then make a good decision. I'll get praise for it. I'll realize the consequences are good after I make that decision. And then that will be how I understand what muscle memory or what is my jump shot. What's my stroke that I can get that ball in the hoop? How do I have success, right? And having those small wins in different ways in the relationship when he takes action builds up that muscle memory. But like I said earlier, you have to be patient with this process. You can't expect this man to wake up one day and 180 degrees be completely different and now make decisions in a way he never was able to before. The same way your confidence grows over a period of time and you become more attractive is the same way a man's confidence can grow with you while in a relationship with you, right? As you believe in him, he believes in himself, and there's a snowball effect. We want that snowball effect to take place, but you have to be patient while this thing is processing. I know for some of you, even when it comes to criticism, aside from criticism, you might be knowledgeable in areas that he's not. You might be really smart in areas that he's not. You might know way more than him in general. And so you might have an urge to say, before you even think through your decision, I already know what the best decision is. Let me make it for both of us. I know that you're smart and you're intelligent and you're capable. I'm not saying you shouldn't be that. But if we want your man to embody masculine energy, you need to take a step back and just let him think it through himself. Even if it takes him twice as long as you to come to the same decision you would have came to in 20 seconds, it's okay. Because understand, you're doing something for yourself in the process of doing this and being patient. Because in the end, when your man builds up his muscle memory to be able to think decisions through and make the same decision that you wanted him to make in the first place, at the end of the day, you benefit from that. Because then you have a man who becomes eventually capable enough that he's thinking through decisions rapid fire. And before you can even think to yourself what you need, he already knows what you need and he's given that to you. Think of that as your end goal. And remember that when you have a desire to say, I don't want to wait. I just want to tell him exactly what he needs to do. He's so dumb, Tomisin. He takes so much time to think through the process. He could just do it like this. It's so. I know it is. And I know in a perfect world, he'd be able to process the information like that and make the decision like that. But I promise you, you will be in a better place energetically. You'll be in a better place in your relationship. You'll be in a better place in your dynamic if you just be patient and let him cook. So point number 7 is about the sandwich. Now, what are you going to be sandwiching? What I want you to start doing and getting good at. See, there obviously are going to be times where you want to ask him to do something a little bit better. And you want to kind of guide him gently in a particular direction and point this out as something you want to be done a little bit better. Now, how are you going to do that in a way that actually gets you what you want? The way you do that is by sandwiching compliments in between the thing that you want to be adjusted, okay? So what does that look like? See, when you're sandwiching compliments between an adjustment, you're doing it because you want him to be reminded that you see everything that he's doing well. You see how he's doing it well, and you're acknowledging that this is already going well in these other areas. Then you put in an adjustment, and you reinforce the idea that he's already made adjustments before that were similar to this or even harder than this, so you believe in his ability to make this adjustment. Let me give you a perfect example here, okay? So you and him are struggling with him asking you out on dates, right? And you guys having a romantic side to your relationship, right? You guys have fallen into the pattern of just kind of sitting around, hanging out, but not really being romantic with each other as you once were. And so you want to encourage that as the adjustment, as the meat that you want to address here in terms of asking him to do better in this area. What I want you to do is I want you to think of 2 things. The first thing that you're going to compliment about something he already does to the max really, 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 really well. And then I want you to think of your second compliment as a compliment of something that he was doing not as much before, and then he improved on over the course of time, and now you've seen great improvement and you're so surprised and shocked with how much he's improved in that area. So how does that look like here? Let's say your first compliment in this area is that he has done a great job since the beginning of the relationship in just being so communicative and expressing how he feels and being honest about what he wants and providing you with clarity and never leaving you in the dark about things. So you come to this and you say, hey, I just want you to know I really appreciate, the way that you're so communicative in our relationship. And your communication honestly inspires me because I was never as communicative before, but you do such a good job opening things up and making me feel comfortable talking about the things that are important to me, that I feel like it would be the right thing to just tell you about how I feel about this thing. I feel like, we were so good at the beginning of our relationship with dating each other and making sure that we still keep the romance alive. I just feel like now we've gotten to a point where both of us are kind of neglecting that part of our relationship. And I want us to both feel like that spark and feel that intense desire for each other like we did at the beginning. Doesn't have to be like we just met, but I really want us to like be dating again, because I want to like learn you and be deeply in love with you again, like we were so fascinated with each other at the beginning. And I've seen the other ways that you're so romantic. You know, remember how at the beginning you weren't really ever getting me flowers? And then I talked to you about how I really loved that and I really appreciated that. And now you get me flowers all the time. Literally last month or last week, you got me flowers just out of the blue because you just felt like it and you were at the store. And it just reminded me how much you are good at listening to me and taking into account what I want and what I need and like making an adjustment. And I just really appreciate you for that. You see how I slid all of those in there? By the time you finish talking, it doesn't even seem like you were angry or upset about anything. Doesn't even seem like there was a problem there. It kind of seems like I just spent the last, 3 minutes praising you for the things that I love about you. When you can sandwich it like that, you can also kind of call it gentle parenting in a sense, right? When you can sandwich it like that, it really feels like, oh, I feel appreciated for what I've done. I feel appreciated for what I'm doing. I feel appreciated for the ways I'm improving. It's recognized here. She doesn't just only speak up when she sees I'm not doing something to tell me how I'm not doing it. She also makes sure to recognize the ways that I'm doing things very well. And those get brought up even more than the adjustments, right? See, for every one adjustment, for every meat, there is 2 pieces of bread, okay? And I really mean that in a sense, you're giving him a little bit of a treat here. You have the thing that you want to address, but in the process of you addressing the thing, you give him a treat. 2 treats at once, and it makes the situation a lot more palatable. And I guarantee you, I'm a man, so I'm telling you this, I guarantee you, you're a lot more likely to get him to make that adjustment when you say it this way and you present the information this way in this sandwich than you are if you only open your mouth to say, hey, you never take me out. You never do this. Other boyfriends, they take their girls out, they buy them flowers, they do this and they do that, and you never do this for me. I've never gotten anything from you. You're like the worst boyfriend. I promise you, when you present information like that, you will not get the response that you're looking for. And I know it's easier to present information like that and not think about how you're delivering it. But I promise you, if you just take some time to think about your delivery, you will get so much more than you ever thought possible.